ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम। सदाशिवसमारंभां शंकराचार्य मध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्य पर्यन्तां वंदे गुरुपरंपरां। सद्गुरुचरणारविन्दाभ्यां नमः। ब्रह्म सूत्रास चैप्टर 3 पादा 3 सर्व वेदांत प्रत्यय अधिकरणम सर्व वेदांत प्रत्ययम चोदनाद्य विशेषात् वेदान्नेति चेत् नैकस्यामपि स्वाध्यायस्य तथात्वेन हि समाचारे अधिकारश्च सववच्च तन्नियमः दर्शयति च उपसंहाराधिकरणम् उपसंहारः अर्थाभेदाद् विधिशेषवत् समाने च अन्यथात्वाधिकरणम् अन्यथात्वं शब्दात् इति चेत् न अविशेषात् न वा प्रकरणभेदात् परोवरीयस्त्वादिवत् संज्ञातश्चेत् तदुक्तम् अस्ति तु तदपि व्याप्यधिकरणम् व्याप्तेश्च समञ्जसं सर्वाभेदाधिकरणम् सर्वाभेदात् अन्यत्रेमे आनन्दाद्यधिकरणम् आनन्दादयः प्रधानस्य प्रियशिरस्त्वादि अप्राप्तिः उपचय अपचयौ हि भेदे इतरे तु अर्थसामान्यात् आध्यानाधिकरणम् आध्यानाय प्रयोजन अभावात् आत्मशब्दाच्च आत्मगृहीत्यधिकरणम् आत्मगृहीतिः इतरवत् उत्तरात् अन्वयादिति चेत् स्यात् अवधारणात् कार्याख्यानाधिकरणम् कार्याख्यानात् अपूर्वं समानाधिकरणम् समान एवञ्च अभेदात् संबंधाधिकरणम् संबंधादेवम् अन्यत्रापि न वा विशेषात् दर्शयति च संभृत्यधिकरणम् संभृतिः द्यु व्याप्तिः अपि च अतः पुरुषविद्याधिकरणम् पुरुषविद्यायामिव चेत् इतरेषाम् अनाम्नानात् वेदाद्यधिकरणम् वेदादि अर्थभेदात् हान्यधिकरणम् हानौ तु उपायन शब्द शेषत्वात् कुशच्छन्द स्तुति उपगानवत् तदुक्तम् साम्परायाधिकरणम् साम्पराये तर्थ व्याभावात् तदाह्यन्ये छन्दद उभय अविरोधात् गतेः अर्थवत्वाधिकरणम् गतेः अर्थवत्वम् उभयता अन्यता हि विरोधः उपपन्नस्तल्लक्षणार्थः उपलब्धेर्लोकवत् अनियमाधिकरणम् अनियमः सर्वासाम् अविरोधः शब्द अनुमानाभ्यां यावदधिकाराधिकरणम् यावत् अधिकारम् अवस्थितिः आधिकारिकाणाम् अक्षरध्यधिकरणम् अक्षरधियां तु अवरोधः सामान्य तद्भावाभ्याम् औपसदवत् तदुक्तम् इत्यधिकरणम् यद् आमननात् यदामननात् 34th सूत्र 3rd pada 3rd chapter 393rd Brahma Sutra. First, let us give the general introduction to this adhikaranam with one sutra. This is relatively a simple adhikaranam, and the portion taken for analysis is from Mandukya Upanishad, Mundaka Upanishad, 3rd Mundakam, 1st section, 1st shloka. The familiar shloka, Tvasuparna Sayuja Sakhaya Samanam Vriksham Parishasvajate Tayoranyaha Pippalam Swadu Atti Anashnan Anyaha Abhichagashiti. And the same mantra is also repeated in Svetasvatara Upanishad in the 4th chapter, 7th mantra. Samane Vrikshe Purusho Nimagnaha Anishaya Sochati Muhyamanaha Jushtam Yada Pashyati Anyamisham Asya Mahimanam Iti Vita Shokaha. And there is a third mantra in Kathopanishad, 1st chapter, 3rd section, 1st mantra. Ritham Pipandau Sukritasya Loke Guham Pravishtav Parame Parardhe Chaya tapo brahmavido vadantim panchagnayo echa trinachiketaha. So now there are three mantras we just quoted. Here the discussion is whether all the three mantras deal with Eka Vidya or Bhinna Vidya. Only one Vidya, only one kind of knowledge, or different knowledge. Because of the differences in the Vedas. Because each one is from different ways. Mundaka Upanishad is from Atharva Veda and all that. And because of differences in Vedas, whether the teachings in the Veda are one and the same or not is our argument. And in Karma Kanda, rituals occur in several Vedas, and because of the Veda difference, there is differences, and one cannot be combined with the other in general. For Sama Veda people, for example, Upakarma itself is a big exercise. It's a very, very complicated one for them. So if a person has entered in Karma Kanda and then comes to Vedanta, then Mundaka Brahman discussed in Mundaka Upanishad and the Brahman discussed in Kathopanishad, they are one or different. This doubt many people may have. Therefore, we clarify that all are one and the same only. And the conclusion is, Vidya is the same only because Vidya is knowledge. The same only because the subject matter is one and the same. And the central teaching is the same in all the three mantras. And here Vyasacharya says that the subject matter is two things, and they are Jivatma and Paramatma. And if we go back to the two Upanishads and analyze the Upanishads, we find Jivatma and Paramatma Vedaha. The whole thing starts with duality only. Then the Upanishad conveys the problem and says, because of the difference alone, Jivatma suffers. Jivatma is estranged from Paramatma. So if the samsara problem is to go away, the estranged Jiva should realize it is Paramatma only through Jnana. Thus, the Aikyam is talked about in Mundaka Upanishad, Kathopanishad, and Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. And here the journey is Indriya journey. Jivatma travels through the various stages in the form of various koshas and reach Brahman ultimately. Yad means the same number of topics. Because of the same number of topics, here in this mantra, in this sutra, we have to conclude that they refer to the same subject only. Now we will come to the general analysis of this sutra. This is the general introduction. Let us go to the general analysis of the sutra itself. First, we talk of Bheda, and ultimately we end with Abheda. So now let us go to the word analysis. First, let us give the running meaning of this simple sutra. The sutra is what? Yad Amananath. Yad Amananath. Yad Amananath means since the three Veda mantras deal with the same specific topics, that teachings are to be treated as one. This is Vyasacharya's assertion in this sutra. Now let us come to the significance of each of these words. It is a compound word consisting of two words, Yad and Amananath. Yad means this much, the same specific number of topics. Here Jivatma and Paramatma are mentioned. And Amananam means discussion or teaching. And here Shankaracharya raises an objection and he himself answers. And the Purvapakshi may raise such an objection. And there are two, for example, in the Mundaka Upanishad, if you remember that mantra, there are two birds seated on one tree. One is the eater and the other does not eat the fruit. And one is Bhokta, the eater, and other is Abhokta. This is Mundaka Upanishad mantra, Dvasuparna mantra. But in Kathopanishad, it is said that it refers to two Bhoktas. In Mundaka, it is one Bhokta, one Abhokta. But Kathopanishad mantra that we just read talks about two Bhoktas. Hence, there is a doubt due to difference of Bhokta, Abhokta in the above two Upanishads. And so Shankaracharya says, we have already discussed this before somewhere else. And his point has been discussed in 1.2.11 of Brahma Sutra, first chapter, second part, the 11th Sutra. What is that Sutra? Tarka Pratishthanatapi Anyatam Anumeyamiti Chet Evamapi Anirmoksha Prasangaha. It's a long sutra we already read in first chapter, second pada, 11th sutra. Tarka Pratishthanatapi Anyata Anumeyamiti Chet evamapi anirmoksha prasangaha. We have analyzed this and said that in Kathopanishad, two bhoktas are not discussed, and one is Paramatma, other is Jivatma. Two Atmas are mentioned here in one Shariram, and if both are Atma, what is the logical problem? That is the question that we have to see. So if both are different Jivatmas or not, if two Jivatmas sit in one Shariram, it is not possible, and there will be a lot of problems. Therefore, mantra cannot talk about two bhokta jivatmas. And can we say mantra talks of one bhokta jivatma and one bhokta paramatma, both residing in one body, is not possible also. And if paramatma is also bhokta, then paramatma will be a samsari. So if paramatma is a samsari, reaching or discovery of oneness, advaitam, with paramatma is not going to help us in any way. So Upanishad makes it very clear that Paramatma is abhokta. And not only that, in the same Kathopanishad mantra, the Upanishad compares Jivatma and Paramatma to shadow and the light. Chaya tapau brahmavido vadanti. That's what we read. So how light and shade can be one when both are diametrically opposite things? Therefore, we have to conclude that one is bhokta and the other is abhokta. Then how did Upanishad use the dual number here? Experiencing karma phalam should be in a singular only, and how do you account for dual number in the mantra? And Shankaracharya answers in Griha Pravishta Adhikarana. During the rainy season, for example, if you take several people in Bombay, very common, and also places Kerala also very common. During rainy seasons, every person, they go out taking an umbrella. Without forgetting, they take an umbrella. One or two people may not carry an umbrella with them. Yet, we have an expression. What type of expression we have? All people carry umbrella during rainy season. But we know that there are non-carriers of umbrellas also. So those people who do not carry umbrella is taken to the majority, and they came into the other group. Thus we say all people carry umbrella in general. So, and also there is a peculiar tree with 7 leaves in one branch. And most of the bunches of leaves have been leaves, but there also we find that the 7 leaves are not there in a couple of places. But still we call that tree as the tree with 7 leaves. In the same way, Bhoktrutvam belongs to Jivatma only. And because of the proximity with Paramatma, the poor Paramatma also gets the attribute of Bhoktrutvam. It is only that much. Paramatma is never a Bhokta. Because of proximity with Jivatma, Paramatma also gets the attribute of Bhoktrutvam. Therefore, do not take the dual number seriously and do not start to duality. This is what Shankara's answer to the Purvapaksha. Therefore, Jivatma is Bhokta, Paramatma is Abhokta. Therefore, Vidya Aikyam is established. That means what? The same information, same knowledge is given in both. And the corollary is what? The description of Atma said in Mundaka Upanishad and Kathopanishad, we should pull them together. In Mundaka Upanishad, in the third Mundaka, first section, third mantra, it says, Yada Pashyaha Pashyate Rukma Varnam Kartaramisham Purusham Brahma Yonim Tada Vidwan Punya Pape Vidhuya Niranjanaha Paramam Samyam Upaiti. So it talks about Rukma Varna in the first line. Yada Pashyaha Pashyate Rukma Varna. Rukma Varna means self-effulgence. And also say Purusham Brahma Yonim, Brahma Yonitvam, the cause of Brahmaji, that is Brahma Yonitvam. And they should be transferred to what is said about Atma in Kathopanishad. So this Mundakopanishad mantra, whatever it talks about here, should be transferred to what is said in Kathopanishad. Anyatra dharmat, anyatra dharmat, anyatra asmat krita kritatim, anyatra bodhacha bhavyacha yatat pashyati tadvada. And also it says, same Kathopanishad, Atma is protector and Atma acts as a bridge to cross, to reach moksha. Yaha setuhu. Ijananam aksharam brahma yatparam. Abhayam tirtharshatam param nachiketakam shakemahi. So it helps the samsari to cross samsara. These are the description in Kathopanishad. So descriptions in Kathopanishad should be taken now to Mundagopanishad. This is called Guna Upasamhara. We should not forget that, because the entire third pada and all that we are talking about Guna Upasamhara in every sutra. Let us go to the next Adhikaranam. Topic 22, 22nd Adhikaranam. Antaratvadhikaranam. And Antaram Bhutagramavate Swatmanaha. Antaram Bhutagramavate Swatmanaha, 35th Sutra, 3rd Pada, 3rd chapter, 394th Brahma Sutra. So, two passages from Brihadaranyaka Upanishad are taken up for discussion to show that they relate to the same Vidya. First, let me give you a general introduction to this Adhikaranam with two sutras. Here the analysis what is Brahma Vidya occurring in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. In the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, in one Brahmanam called Ushastha Brahmana, Ushastha and all, they are all name of the rishis. Ushastha Brahmanam, Ushastha questions Yajnavalkya, he's explained to me the Brahman, the Atman or self, which is within all and it is innermost of all the koshas. That is the question. Ushastha Brahmanam, Ushastha asks Yajnavalkya this question, explain to me the Brahman, that is the Atman or the self, which is within all and it is innermost of all the koshas. Pranamaya kosha, for example, is inner, it's all right, but it is inner to Manomaya kosha. So like that, the Pancha koshas. All the koshas are not absolute, antara, not the absolute inner one. And superlatively inner is the Chaitanya only. So Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya, and inner to Anandamaya is this Atma, Chaitanya. So all the koshas are not absolutely antara, inner. They are superlatively inner. Is the Chaitanyam, is the one that is the innermost, which means Chaitanyam is inner to everyone. And Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, 3rd chapter, in the 4th section, the first mantra says, Yat Sakshat Aparokshat Brahma Yaha Atma Sarvantaraha. So this Sarvantara Atma is Sakshat Aparokshat. It is ever known to us, even without the requirement of any instrument of knowledge. Atma is self-evident, ever known to us. You don't need any instrument to know the Atma. You are knowable to me only if I use the sense organ of eye, for example. If I have to identify you, if I have to see you, I should use my sense organ of eye. Everything in creation is knowable only through prana vyapara. Atma is one you can know without any effort. This is the meaning of this mantra. Atma is always self-evident. So the problem is, the same mantra occurs in two sections. One is in the 3rd chapter, 4th section, first mantra, Ushastha Brahmanam, that is Atahainam, Upastha Chakrayanaha Papracha, Yajnavalkya Hovacha, Yat Sakshat, Aparokshat, Brahma Yaha Atma Sarvantaraha, is the 3rd chapter, 4th section, first mantra. And the other one is 3rd chapter, 5th section, first mantra, in a different Brahmanam. The previous one is Ushastha Brahmanam, and the next one is Kahola Brahmana. Kahola is the name of another rishi. Yadeva Sakshat Aparokshat Brahma Yaha Atma Sarvantarastam Me Vyachakshva Iti Yeshata Atma Sarvantaraha. That is that mantra. So Kahola is the name of another rishi. He also challenges Yajnavalkya. Actually, in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, we went through all these discussions in detail. So the confusion here is what? Whether both should be taken as the same or different Vidya. The one that is given in Ushastha Brahmanam and the one that is given in Kahola Brahmanam, are they same or different? Whether the teachings are one or different is a question. And the Purvapakshi, he says that they are to be treated as two different Vidyas, And if both are same, the Upanishad need not repeat the same. What is said in the previous one is repeated in Kahola Brahmanam also. Ushasta Brahmana substance is repeated in Kahola Brahmana. Why you should repeat it at all if it is same? Since Shastra takes the trouble of saying the same, you have to take it as different Vidya only. This is what Purvapakshi says. And our answer is both are one and the same only. That is Siddhanti's answer. This is the general introduction to this Adhikarana. Now let us see the general analysis of this sutra itself. Here Vyasacharya gives one reason for taking both as one Vidya. And Vyasacharya says that the ultimate inner essence can be only one. Ultimate inner essence. If there are two, the question will come, which is inner to which inner one? Because Atma is the innermost, we said. And if there are two things, there will be a question, which is inner to the other inner one. So the word Sarvantaraha is used in both the Brahmanams. And since Sarvantaraha can be only one Atma, the innermost can be only one Atma, both must deal with one and the same Atma only. It cannot be different. That is the reason. Since the knowledge is one, the Vidya also must be one only. And this is one logic given by Vyasacharya. Then Shankaracharya gives another logic in his Bhashyam. He says, observe the mantra 3.5.1 very carefully. 3rd chapter, 5th section, 5th Brahmanam, 1st mantra. Yedeva yetiyeva sakshat aparokshat brahma yaha atma sarvantaraha. That is the sutra. So here, this mantra in this particular Brahman, in 3.5.1. Here there is a word. First word is what? Eva. There is eva is there. This is used as an addition. Eva. Eva means the same. So whichever Sarvantara Atma discussed in Ushasta Brahmanam earlier, that itself is repeated in Kahola Brahmanam. Whatever is discussed there only is repeated in Kahola Brahmanam. It is the implied meaning of the sutra because of the word Eva. And then Purvapakshi, he raises a question. If the same is repeated in both the Brahmanam, then will there not be Punarukti dosha? If a thing is repeated, then it is called Punarukti dosha. It is a dosha. People normally don't repeat again. And for that objection by the Purvapakshi, we give the answer in the next sutra. That sutra gives the answer. We will now suspend it for the time being. Now let us see the word analysis of this sutra. Antara bhutagramavat swatmanaha. That is the sutra. Antara bhutagramavat swatmanaha. Swatmanaha means of the same self. Here we have to supply because of the revelation of the same self. Antara refers to as innermost one. Antara refers to innermost one. The teaching is the same. Because of the revelation of the same self, Atma, as innermost one, the teaching is the same. That is Vidya Aikyam Eva. Both the knowledge is same, both the Vidya. And Bhutagramavata means like the self in all the living beings, all the Bhutas revealed elsewhere. This is the running meaning of the sutra. Like the self, Atma, revealed in all the living beings, revealed elsewhere. Now we will see the significance of the words. Antara means innermost self, and innermost can be only one, and it cannot be many. Therefore, in both the Brahmanams, it refers to the same Atma only. In the both Brahmanams, it refers to the same Atma only is the conclusion. And Bhutagramavate, like the one referred to elsewhere. Elsewhere is what? Svetasvatara Upanishad in the 6th chapter, 11th mantra. Eko Devaha, Sarva Bhuteshu Gutaham, Sarva Vyapi, Sarva Bhutantaratma. This mantra we have seen it in some other context earlier. So in 6th section, in the 6th chapter's 11th mantra is Eko Devaha, Sarva Bhuteshu Godaham, Sarva Vyapi, Sarva Bhutantaratma. So here, for us, two words are relevant here. One is Sarva Bhutantaratma. Atma is the inner essence of all the Jiva, Sarva Bhutas. That means Bhutagrama. That Atma is revealed as Sarva Bhuta Antaratma in Svetasvatara Upanishad. And in the first line, the Upanishad says, Ekaha, Eko Devaha, Ekaha Devaha. So, Eko Devaha, Ekaha, which means Sarva Bhuta Atma is only one. Sarva Bhuta Atma is only one. If Atma is only one, Atma Vidya also can be only one. And Swatmanaha means the same Atma being revealed. We have to supply being revealed, Swatmanaha. Let us go to the next Adhikaranam, Antaratvadhikaranam. Anyatha Abhedat Upapattihi iti chet na Upadeshantaravat. Anyatha Abhedan Upapattihi iti chet na Upadeshantaravat. 36th Sutra, 3rd Pada, 3rd chapter, 395th running Brahma Sutra. And this Sutra has two parts. And the first part is Purvapakshi part. And the second part is the Siddhanta part. Now let us do the general analysis of this sutra. Here the Purvapakshi says, if you treat both as one, then how will you remedy the defect of repetition of the same Vidya in two places? We already said Punarukti dosha, the defect of repetition. How can you then remedy the defect of repetition, the repetition? And that mantra bedaha, difference in mantra, or Brahmana bedaha, because as I told in the Brihadaranyaka context, these are all called various Brahmanam. So in the Brahmana bedaha you cannot explain if you talk of Vidya bedaha, because in short, Punarukti dosha has not been remedied according to Purvapakshi. Even though you said all that, it is still not remedied. And in the second part, this is the Purvapakshi part. And in the second part, Siddhanta answers this point raised by Purvapakshi. And it is said there, even though Atma is the same, two different aspects of Atma is talked about here. Atma is one and the same, but two aspects of Atma are talked about here. And what are the two aspects of Atma? Atma uses prana as the instrument. Atma uses prana as the instrument, and Atma uses also apana, vyana, and all those things also as instruments. So Atma is karanam, and it is different from the instrument karanam. For example, as a person is different from the instruments, he uses computer and all that. And by extension, it is different from jnanendriyas and karmendriyas, which are all only instruments, the sense organs and the organs of action. So the Atma is different from all of them. Atma is the witness of even the mind and even the thoughts in the mind, and is different from the instrument. Atma is different from Manomaya Kosha also. And leaving aside all these details, the essence of Ushastha Brahmanam is what? Atma is different from Sharira and the Koshas. Shariratrayam and Kosha Panchakam. What are Shariratrayam? Three Shariras: gross body, Stula Shariram, Sukshma Shariram, subtle body, and the Karana Shariram, causal body. Atma is different from all the three bodies. And also Kosha Panchakam, Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, and Anandamaya Koshas. So it is different from all those also. Atma is the witness consciousness, different from the Kshetram. Kshetram is the body. Kshetra Kshetrakya Vibhaga Yoga, we saw in Bhagavad Gita. So the Kshetram is the body. So Atma is the witness. It is different from the Kshetram, the body. But in Kahola Brahmanam, the focus is what? Focus is the freedom of the distinguished Atma. Atma is ever free. Atma is different from Shariram, and that Atma is ever free. That is the subject there. So the consciousness, Atma Chaitanyam, is free from hunger, thirst, old age, death, sorrow, delusion, all of them, Sukha, Dukkha. In short, it is free from what then? Samsara. Samsara is all these. So Atma is ever free, means Atma is ever free from samsara. And Ekaha Eva Atma. Ekaha Eva Atma. But there are two different features are mentioned here, even though there is one Atma. Two different features are mentioned here. In fact, in Chandogya Upanishad, Atma is given. Actually, the author gives 9 examples are given from 6th chapter, 8th section, 7th mantra onwards up to 15th. Gives 9 examples, and in each example, each aspect of Atma is talked about. Sayeshaham Anima Etade Atmyam Idagum Sarvam Tat Satyam Sa Atma Tattvamasi Shvetaketo. He repeats it 9 times. Tattvamasi Sa Atma Tattvamasi Shvetaketo. Iti Bhuya Eva Ma Bhagavan Vijñapayati Iti. Tata Swamyeti Hovacha. That is the 6th chapter, 8th section, 7th mantra in Chandogya. So there is no Punarukti dosha at all because Tattvamasi Swamet Swetaketo repeated 9 times. So there is no dosha at all. This is the general analysis of the mantra. Now let us see the word analysis, the sutra. What is the sutra? Anyatha Vedhan Upapattihi iti chete na upadeshantaravate. That is the sutra. Anyatha. Anyatha means without the acceptance of the difference in the teaching. Without the acceptance of the difference in the teaching. That is without the acceptance of Vidya Bhedaha, difference in the mantra. The mantra refers to Brahmana here. That is improper. You cannot find the difference. It is improper. Up to this is the Purvapaksha. There is sectional difference. Should prove teaching is different according to them. Because this comes in different sections of the same Upanishad. So they cannot talk about the same teaching. But we say that it can be teaching of two different aspects. It can be 2 sections, fine. But the subject is not changed. It talks about 2 different aspects perhaps. Iti chet. If this is your contention, no, it is not correct. Upadeshantaravate. It is proper as in the case of the teaching elsewhere. This is the running meaning. Now we have to see the significance of the words to understand each word. Anyatha. Anyatha means otherwise, without accepting the teaching is different. Bheda anupapattihi. Bheda and anupapattihi. Bheda means sectional difference. One mantra occurs in one section, another mantra occurs in another section. Ushasta Brahman, Kahora Brahman. One mantra occurs in the 4th Brahman, Ushasta Brahman. Other one in 5th Brahman, Kahora Brahman. Anupapattihi means it is illogical. Utpattihi, upapattihi, anupapattihi, it is illogical. This is the view of whom? Purvapakshi. Iti chet. If this is Purvapakshi's contention, if this is your contention, then na. It is not. No such problem at all. Sectional differences are possible with the same teaching. That is the assertion of Vyasacharya. Sectional differences are possible with the same teaching. Upadeshantaravate. It is explained elsewhere, which means what? Tattvamasi Mahavakya in Chandogya Upanishad from 8th section to 15th section. Where Tattvamasi is explained in 9 places, giving different aspects of Atma. So it is not, there is no repetition there. This is the significance of the word Upadeshantaravata. With this adhikaranam is also over. Now let us go to the next adhikaranam. Vyatiharadhikaranam. It's called Vyatiharadhikaranam. This is the 37th adhikaranam. Vyatiharo Vishimshanti Hi Itaravate. Hi Itaravate is there, Hi Itaravate. Vyatiharo Vishimshanti Hi Itaravate. 37th Sutra, 3rd Pada, 3rd chapter, 396th running Brahma Sutra. The Aitareya Aranyaka, that portion is taken here for discussion. And that portion says, with reference to the person in the sun, what I am, that he is. I am, sun is he. So what he is, what the sun is, that I am. I am also the same. This is in Aitareya Aranyaka, in the 2nd chapter, 4th section, 6th mantra. Let us see the general introduction of this adhikaranam with only one sutra, small adhikaranam. And here Vyasacharya analyzes a mantra from Aitareya Aranyakam And the mantra is Tadyoham Sosau Yosau Soham. Tadyoham Sosau Yosau Soham. Here the Veda prescribes Jivatma and Paramatma Aikya Upasana. Jivatma Paramatma Aikya Upasanam is started here. And it is called Ahangriha Upasanam. That is considered as an important stage before gaining jnana. Normally, when we do Ishvara Upasana, Ishvara is invoked on any sacred symbol which is different from me. For example, like the Shaligrama, all those things. Shivalingas, they are all symbols, they are different from me. So this Ishvara Upasana is called Bheda Upasana. Because Ishvara is different from me in this Upasana. And later, before coming to Jnanam or before coming to Vedanta, in the Upasana Kanda itself, Abheda Upasana is also prescribed. And Ishvara is invoked upon oneself. The symbol is not an external object, and I myself become the object at the time of Upasana. Jiva does not know. Jivatma is Paramatma is a fact. Jiva does not know it yet. Till it gains jnana, it doesn't know. Only if you know that, it is jnana. If I imagine and visualize, I am Ishvara, and when I invoke Ishvara on me, I know I am not Ishvara, but I consider myself as Ishvara for the sake of this Upasana or this puja. If a stone can serve as a symbol for Ishvara, why cannot myself be a symbol for invoking the Lord on myself? But the person swears that I am not the God at all. He can never even think of imagining himself as God. Since Aikyam is not a fact for the Upasaka, for a Jnani it is. It is not a fact for the Upasaka. Aikyam is only an imagination. It is called Abheda Upasana. So if someone practices Abheda Upasana for a long time, it will be easier to gain Abheda Jnanam ultimately. So through Abheda Upasana, one can gain Abheda Jnanam ultimately. That is why in the Upadeshasara, another work of Adi Shankara, it is said between Bheda Upasana and Abheda Upasana is superior to the former. And between Abheda Upasana and Abheda Jnanam is superior. So the former will give maximum Krama Mukti. Abheda Upasana maximum will take you to Krama Mukti. You can go to Brahmalavaka. And Abheda Jnanam will give Jivan Mukti in this Janma itself. This is Aikya Upasanam or Ahangriha Upasanam. And this is talked about in the Aitreya Aranyaka, that mantra that we just read. Tadyoham Sosau Yosau Soham. That is the mantra. Tadyoham Sosau. So here I alone, that is I alone is the Jivatma obtaining in this body. This Jivatma alone is Asau, which means in the Surya Mandalavati, Paramatma. Asau Aditya Brahma, Brahma Eva Ahamasmi. The Sandhyavandana mantra says every day. So I alone, the Jivatma obtaining in this body, this Jivatma alone is Asau, which means in the Surya Mandala, the same Jivatma is there, the same Atman is there. So Paramatma is generally invoked in Surya Mandala. And the word Asau means that Paramatma who is invoked in Surya Mandala, both are one and the same. This Jivatma, the me, and the Paramatma that is done in the Surya Mandalam, both are one and the same. That is, I am he. He is what? Paramatma. And I is equal to Jivatma and he is equal to Paramatma in here. So when we say I am he, I am Jivatma and the he is Paramatma. I am he. And Veda makes another statement also reversing the same idea, that Paramatma in Surya Mandala and Paramatma is I, this Jivatma. Jivatma obtaining in the Sharira. So Paramatma in the Surya Mandala is the same as the Jivatma obtaining in the Sharira. So there is Jabhala, another Upanishad. Tvam va ahamasmi bhagavo devate aham vai tvamasi. Tvam va ahamasmi bhagavo devate aham vai tvamasi. That means he is I, tvam, he is I, aham. And what is the second statement? I is he. Devate aham vai tvamasi. Aham means I, vai tvam, yourself. So grammatically, there is some difference between these two. For example, when I say I am he means Paramatma, I am Paramatma. When I say I am he, because it said tvam, we are using the term he, but a Paramatma. So when I say I am he, I am the subject and he is the object. And when you say he is I, then that is aham vai tvam. When you say he is I, he is the subject and I am the object. I hope you understand the difference. When I say tvam aham and aham vai tvam, this change. So they are reversed in the two sentences. There is Visheshana Visheshya difference. The difference is called Visheshana Visheshya difference. And there is also another difference called Uddeshya. Uddeshya is subjective and Vidheya means predicate. And they also differ. So this reversal of subject and predicate, it is called Vyatiharaha in this sutra. There is a term Vyatihara. This is this reversal of subject and the predicate. It is mutual exchange of positions. And what is our problem? Our problem is, since there are two expressions in the mantra, one being I am he, and the other one is he is I, should we treat both as two separate meditations or should we treat it as one meditation only? That is the question. And the Purvapakshi, he says that this should be treated as one meditation only because Aikyam is the subject matter. Don't worry about all other things. I am he is me, Aikyam. Since Aikyam is talked about in both, it is Eka Vidya only. And now the Siddhanta says that is not. It should be treated as two different upasanas only. Now let us see the general analysis of the sutra. And Vyasacharya says that we have to treat it as separate upasana since Veda purposely says differently. Purposely it says, even though there is Aikyam, there is a subtle difference. When you say I am he, then what happens? He means here Paramatma, Ishvara. So when I say I am he, then the Ishwaratvam is superimposed on me, the Jiva. When I say I am he, Ishwaratvam is superimposed on the Jiva. And when I say he is I, then the Jivatvam is superimposed on Ishvara. See the subtle difference? When you say I am he, the Paramatma, Ishwaratvam is superimposed on Jiva. And when you say he is I, Jivatvam is superimposed on Ishvara. Therefore, there is a subtle difference which the Shruti wants to make it clear, and therefore there are two expressions. That is the analysis. And when it is said, the Purvapakshi says, why cannot we take it as one Aikyam, and you can say the second time repetition is only for emphasis. He doesn't leave. He says you can say it is a second time repetition for emphasis only. It is said, as we did in the previous class also, there we said the word two again for emphasis. And here why cannot we take that there is one upasana only repeated twice for emphasis is his question. Purvapakshi's question. For that, the Siddhanti, he says that you should know there it is knowledge and here it is upasana. That is the difference. There it is knowledge, here it is upasana. There is difference between upasana and knowledge. In knowledge alone, doubt is possible. In knowledge only, there is doubt possible. And you have to accept it as a fact. Knowledge is a fact. Doubt is possible, but you have to accept it as a fact. Therefore, doubt is possible, and therefore, different arguments have to be given because there is doubt. And here it is only an invocation on a particular locus. In the upasana, invocation on a particular locus. There is no knowledge involved and no understanding is also involved. Upasana is karma. Karma is involved in upasana. And understanding is not doing an action. Understanding is not doing an action. Therefore, you have to treat them as two separate things. This is the subtle difference. There is no knowledge involved here at all in this upasana. I am he is an action number one in the upasana. I am he. And he is I is action number two. which is invocation number 2. I am he is invocation number 1, and he is I is invocation number 2. And in the first invocation, Jiva is the locus. And in the second invocation, the locus is Lord, Ishvara. Therefore, Shankaracharya argues these two are separate upasanas with two separate locus. And then Purvapakshi argues further. He says, when you do upasana, normally what do? We invoke a superior thing upon an inferior thing. Right? We invoke Lord Shiva and Shivalinga, just stone. So we normally invoke a superior thing upon an inferior thing. That being the upasana, how can you explain the two upasanas now? Two upasanas I can appreciate. The first one is I am he. I am he. The Ishvaratvam is superimposed on Jiva. I understand. I am inferior. But how do you explain the second upasana in which Jivatvam is superimposed on Ishvara? Jivatvam is inferior thing superimposed on superior Ishvara. And for the Shankaracharya, he comes with an explanation. He says, already you have superimposed many inferior features on Paramatma. Already you have done it day in and day out. Originally, Paramatma was Nirguna Paramatma. Already you have superimposed on the Nirguna Paramatma many rupas like Shiva, Vishnu, Ambika, Ganapati, all that. Rupa means limitation. The moment you put a rupam, you are now limiting the Nirguna Brahma. You invite Lord and then send back the Lord. You do avahanam of the Lord and then upasthanam also you ask them to go back. Offer snanam during puja, all that you do. So already you have made many kalpanas, rupam and all that. And along with that, your jivatvam also is superimposition on Paramatma. So the first mistake I committed is what? I have given you a form. Given you means the Lord. Oh Lord, I have given you a form, thus limiting your character. And the next is, every stuti I did for you. I do so many slokas, parayanas, sahasranamas, all that stuti. Whatever I did for you is another insult to you. Lord is indescribable. Yet I called you by many names, identifying through specifications. I have limited your names because of my limitation of my own knowledge. In every religion and philosophy, one question is there as to, is evil included in God or not? All the Kalyana Gunas only you are talking about all the time. Is evil also included in God or not? Is the question. If God has evil, then what is the difference between God and me? Both are one and the same. Evil is mithya, and it can be included in Lord, but Lord is not affected by our inclusion of mithya. Mithya evil. Any name of the Lord is to exclude him from us. Yes, any name is only excluding him. And this is the second mistake. And the third mistake is what? The third mistake is, every pilgrimage that I take is indirectly saying that you are not here. Because I go to Kashi, I go to Kedar, I go to all those places to see you, to have darshan of you. That means what? You are not here. So every Tirtha Yatra limits you. So these three doshas I have done in the name of a great devotee of you. And for this the Jnani asks a question. He asks pardon from the Lord. I have done all these thinking that I am the greatest devotee, whereas you are all pervading, omniscient, omnipresent and all that thing. How can I limit you? It is okay until Advaita Jnanam comes. Until Advaita Jnanam, these are all okay. But once the Advaita Jnanam comes, it is no more. Now let us go to the word analysis. Vyatiharo vishimshanti hi itaravate. Vyatiharo vishimshanti hi itaravate. Vyatiharaha means the two meditations with subject-predicate exchange. I mentioned that thing earlier. Subject-predicate exchange. They are intended in this mantra. He vishimshanti. Vishimshanti means because of these scriptural words specify so. Just say so. Two meditation with subject predicate exchange. they are intended this mantra because scripture says so. Itaravat. Itaravat means as in the other cases. Now the significance of the words, let us see. Vyatiharaha. Vyatiharaha means subject predicate exchange that we already saw. And this exchange is meant by the word Vyatihara, and this indicates two meditations. It is not one Aikya Jnanam, but it is twofold Aikya Upasana. Be careful. One Aikya Jnanam, but it is twofold Aikya Upasana. Vishimshanti means two specifications. In one statement, Yoham Sosav, and in another statement, Sosav Yoham. And we should respect Shruti specification actually. And the word he means the reasoning. And Itaravat means as in other cases. So two specifications are made with the intention of two upasanas with one locus on Ishvara and another one on the Jivatma. So all these occur where? In Ahangraha Upasana. If the same mantra occurs in knowledge section, Jnanam, we will not treat them as two different things at all. We will treat it as Eka Vidya only. In Kaivalya Upanishad, it is said, Twamyeva Avastatraya Sakshi Chaitanya Paramatma. Twamyeva Avastatraya Sakshi Chaitanya Paramatma is said there. So with this, the 37th Sutra is also over. Now let us go to the next Adhikaranam. Satyadhyatikaranam. This is the 24th Adhikaranam. Saivahi Satyadayaha. That is the Sutra. 38th Sutra, 3rd Pada, 3rd chapter, 397th running Brahma Sutra. Saivahi Satyadayaha. First, let us see a general introduction to this Adhikaranam with one Sutra. Here, the subject matter is two mantras occurring in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, 5th chapter, 4th section, 1st mantra, 5th chapter, 5th section, 2nd mantra. And the 5.4.1 says, he who knows this great, glorious, firstborn being as the Satyam Brahman conquers the three worlds, conquers the verse. That's what it says. Saha yo haitam mahadhyaksham pramadajam vedam pratamajam vedam Satyam Brahma. Sayo haitam mahadhyaksham mahatu mahadhyaksham mahatu yaksham pratamajam veda Satyam Brahma. And again in 5.5.2, there it is said, that which is Satya, Satantya, we have already seen that terminology earlier, is that sun, the sun, the being who is in the orb, the solar orb, and the being who is in the right eye. All the Sakshini Purusha, all those discussions we did earlier. Tadyatat Satyam Asau Sa Adityaha Ya Yesha Yetasmin Mandale Yaschayam Dakshinekshan Purushaha Tava Yeto Anyaham Anyasmin Pratishtitav. That is the mantra. Now a doubt can arise whether these two Satya Vidyas are one or different. So both are talking about, first one says what? Sayo Haitam Mahadhyaksham Pratamajam Veda Satyam Brahma. Talks about that Satyam. And here also it talks about Satyam. So are they both same or different? A doubt is like this. Here we get Hiranyagarbha Upasana. First one occurs in the 4th and the 5th sections. In both the Brahmanams, Hiranyagarbha Upasana is prescribed. Both are Brihadaranyaka mantra. So in the both Brahmana, Hiranyagarbha is presented as Satyam Brahma. This we have seen also earlier in another context. The word Brahman refers to Sagunam Brahman only here. It is Upasana. And it is called Brahman because Hiranyagarbha is all pervading. Hiranyagarbha is also called the Satyam. And this Satyam means what? That which is a mixture of Sat and Tyat. Sat and Tyat is Hiranyagarbha. And Sat means what? The Murta Prapancha, Murta Sharira. And Tyat means the Amurta Prapancha, Amurta Sharira. On who has got Virat Shariram and formless Sukma Shariram, both. Virat Shariram is the Murta Prapancha, Murta Shariram. And this formless Sukma Shariram is Amurta Sharira. And that is called Hiranyagarbha Upasana. And that is what is said there. And what is the controversy here? should we treat the two Hiranyagarbha upasanas as one and the same or different? So if they are treated as different, then guna upasamhara will not be there. And the descriptions in both can be clubbed together. Purvapakshi says that they are two different upasanas. Whereas Siddhanti says they both are same upasana only. And Purvapakshi gets a doubt because the phalam is given in these two brahmanas. The phalam given them is different. The phalam in the fourth brahmana is lokajayaha. Superior lokas one can attain. That is called lokajayaha in the fourth brahmana. Whereas in the other ones, that is in the next janma. Next janma, understand? It's after death only. Certainly it is not moksha, that means. But the phalam given in the fifth brahmanam is papa nashaha. All papas will be destroyed. In the other one can get all punya lokas. So it comes in the end of the brahmanam, papa nashaha. Therefore the upasanas are different. The conclusion will be what? They are one upasana only is our conclusion. This is the general introduction. Now let us go to the general analysis, the sutra. Here Vyasacharya asserts that they are one and the same upasana only because of various reasons. And the various valid reasons are what? That is left to the reader actually. And Shankaracharya gives the answer that the valid reason is the Upanishad mentions that Hiranyagarbha, which was talked about, that Hiranyagarbha which was talked about before. It's not talking about the new Hiranyagarbha. Whatever was talked about before only is being talked about here. So if you study the mantra, it is clear that both are the same only. What was discussed earlier and what is discussed now, both are same. Tad yat tat satyam. Tad yat tat satyam. Now Shankaracharya argues there is an expression here. Hiranyagarbha, which was talked there in the previous Brahmanam, that alone is Satyam. Because of the usage of the appropriate pronoun, the same word Satyam is used, and therefore the Satyam mentioned before is discussed in the 5th chapter also. The Purvapakshi, his question remains as to how do you account for two phalams? Yes, he is still okay, you are saying, but how do you still account for the two phalams? One is Papanasha, another is Punyaloka, attaining all the Punyalokas. How do you account for the two phalams? The answer Shankaracharya gives is, look at the 4th Brahmanam closely. In the two mantras in the 5th Brahmanam, it prescribes another Anga Upasana as part of the main Hiranyagarbha Upasana. Anga Upasana means secondary Upasana, Anga Upasana, Angi Upasana, and all you should be familiar. So it's a secondary Upasana, Anga Upasana. We should go along with the Angi Upasana, primary Upasana. That is said in the 4th Brahman. So 4th Brahman talks about Angi Upasana. And in the mantra, in the 5th Brahmanam, 5th chapter, the 4th Brahmanam, it says, Saha Eha Haitam Mahat Yaksham. Mahat Yaksham Pratamajam. 3 attributes. Mahat Yaksham Pratamajam Vedam Satyam Brahma. Yaksham here means adorable. And Pratamajam means firstborn. So Anga Upasana here is the same. Hiranyagarbha Upasana described as endowed with Vyahriti Avayavaha. Vyahriti, Buhu, Buvaha, Subaha, Vyahritis. They are called Vyahriti mantras. And the Upasana here described as Vyahriti Avayava Hiranyagarbha, which means what? The Upanishad presents 3 mantras as the limbs of Hiranyagarbha. Buhu, Buvaha, Subaha. As the 3 limbs of Hiranyagarbha. Buhu is the head. Buvaha is the 2 hands, and Suvaha, the 2 legs. And at the end of the Vyahriti Avayava, the Upanishad describes Hiranyagarbha with a secret name. It gives a secret name to the Upanishad, to the Hiranyagarbha. Ya Esha Etaspin Mandale, Purushastasya, Buriti, Shira, Ekagum Shiraha. Ekameda Daksharam, Buvayiti, Bahu, Dvau Bahu, Dve Yete Akshare, Swariti Pratishtha. Dve Pratishte, Dve Yete Akshare, Tasyopanishad Ahariti. Ahar is one secret name. Hanti Papmanam Jahati Jahati Chayayam Veda. So Hanti Papmanam Papanasha happens. And in the 5th chapter, 5th section, 4th mantra, it says Tasyopanishad Ahamiti. There it is Ahariti. Here Ahamiti Hanti Papmanam Jahati Chayayam Veda. So namely Ahar at the macrocosmic level and Aham at the microcosmic level, these are the two secret names. So Akshi Purusha Rupa Hiranyagarbha Aham Uchyate. When you do upasana of Hiranyagarbha as in the eyes, Akshi Purushaham, then it is called Aham. Then the Upanishad says, one who meditates upon the secret name will get Palama Papanasha. Look at the complication. So the Akshi Purusha Rupa Hiranyagarbha is Aham. So when a person does that Hiranyagarbha Upasana, and how it should be in the right eye, it's supposed to be, the Upasana, if it is done, that is called Aham. So one he meditates upon the secret name Aham, then he gets the Palama Papanasha. First one will get Lokajaya, is Papanasha. Therefore, the Papanasha Palam is not the Palam for the main Hiranyagarbha Upasana itself. It is only for the Upasana as the Aham, if person is doing Upasana on the secret name, Aham. Therefore, there is one Palam only. There is only one Palam, a mixture of Lokajaya and Papanasha. Take both the Upasanas together and then you get the Palam of Papanasha also. The main and subsidiary Upasanas, I'll take only just a couple of minutes to finish. The main and subsidiary Upasanas will give the Palam of Papanasha. And both Brahmanams, they make one of both Anga and another is Angi. Anga Upasana and Angi Upasana. Combine both together and then you get the Palam of Lokajaya and Papanasha. So the word Satyam, that is common to both the Upasanas. This is the general analysis. Now let us do quickly the word analysis. First let us see the running meaning. The sutra is Saivahi Satyadayaha. Saha Eva means the same Hiranyagarbha Upasana alone. That is taught in the 5th section also. He means because of valid reason. Satyadayaha. Satyadayaha means therefore the attribute like Satyam, they are to be included in the 5th section also. Whatever was said there in the 4th section should be included in the 5th section also. Now let us see the significance of the words. Saha means Hiranyagarbha Upasana. Sa means Hiranyagarbha Upasana. Upasana is known as Vidya also. I mentioned it earlier. And Sa means here Vidya. So Hiranyagarbha Vidya. Eva is essentially for emphasis only. The same Hiranyagarbha Upasana alone is talked about here. The Hiranyagarbha Upasana mentioned in the 4th Brahmanam is repeated in the 5th Brahmanam of Brihadaranyaka, the 5th section. So, and the reason what is said here, the word he is given by the word he. Vyasacharya does not specify the valid reason, but and the reason the pronoun is tad. Thus is the pronoun here. So Satyam, that's used in the 5th Brahmanam, also is for the sake of Pratyabhijna purposes also. And before the Sarvatma Shabda, before the Sarvatma Sabda, when that comes also, there are few lines, and those few lines of the 5th Brahmanam, I'm not reading the full mantra, just only give the gist, are the explanation of this Prathamajam occurring in the 4th Brahman. So Prathamajam, Yaksham, all the various Satyam, all those words we are telling. So Prathamajam is the first born. And this shows that both the Upasanas should be taken as one. It's an additional reason. And Satyadeha, Satyam, etc. Adeha, the attributes of Satyam. The Murta Prapancha, Amurta Prapancha, we have Satyat, all that we have seen earlier. Adi means etc. Satyadeha, Satyam, Adi. So which means the other 3 gunas. Which are the 3 gunas? Mahat. Mahat means great. Yaksham is adorable. And Prathamajam, firstborn. So these are the 3 gunas we talked about here. Mahat in the sutra. Mahat, Yaksham and Prathamajam. So out of Ishvara, the first one created is Hiranyagarbha, Prathamajam. So these 3 attributes mentioned in the 4th Brahmanam, they are to be transferred to the 5th Brahmanam also, and this is called Guna Upasamhara. So the entire chapter, entire pada, we should, wherever the sutra comes, we have to look for this Guna Upasamhara. And the additional Papanasha Palam also should be transferred to the 4th Brahmanam also, if Upasana is done using that 4th Brahmanam also. With this 38th sutra is also over. And the 24th topic, 24th Adhikaranam is also over. We will see the rest in the next class. Yo vedado swaraprakto vedante cha pratishtitaha tasya pragatilinasya parasamaheshwaraha purnamada purnamidam purnat purnamudachyate purnasya purnamadaya purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shri Guru Namaha. Hari Om. Shri Krishna.